Inside Out Reentry Community, that's it?
Yes, that's
Okay.
what it's called. Yep. I was in Chicago, and I was involved in like street gangs and being on the streets and doing all type of stuff that was getting me sent away, sent to prison. And I think that my mom, she just got to the point that she just couldn't watch it anymore.
Eric Harris lives in Iowa City, Iowa, but he's from Chicago. He left Illinois in 1999 with plans to start over, but you know what they say about old habits.
It was some good things, but it was some bad things that was going on around here. And it was an active drug market, and I became involved in that. So what I started to do was I started to rob other drug dealers, to take them out of business. I just continued to do the things that I was doing in Chicago, except in this atmosphere, I was able to get away with it more.
Ultimately, Harris racked up 3 nonviolent felony convictions before he turned his life around. But it wasn't easy.
It's easy to catch a criminal case, but it's hard to say I don't want to be in trouble no more. You go through lots of rejection, and rejection is hard. It's really easy to just give up after about 3 or 4 no's.
Harris overcame his past to become a husband, homeowner, and college graduate. He's gainfully employed and even enjoys his job, but he can't vote. Harris is one of more than 4 million former felons nationwide, also known as returning citizens, who are out of prison but still disenfranchised. And if he stays in Iowa, there's a chance he'll never get to vote. The Iowa law doesn't apply if Harris moves out of state, but he and his wife would have to find new jobs, which can prove extremely difficult for returning citizens like Eric. Kentucky and Iowa, those are the only 2 states in the country that bar their citizens from voting because of a felony conviction. If Eric Harris was arrested on the east side of the Mississippi River, not only would he have his voting rights back, but the prison where he was incarcerated would be required by law to give him a civics lesson on his way out. But because Harris was arrested on the west side of the Mississippi, the only way he casts a ballot in 2020 is if the governor personally approves it.
Illinois has a trend of allowing more and more access to eligible voters, whereas most of the states around us have gone backwards in terms of their policies.
On August 21st, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the Reentering Citizens Civics Education Act into law. This new law requires every prison in the state to offer a peer-led civics program to soon-to-be-released citizens. Dr. Christina Rivers of DePaul University volunteers at Stateville Correctional Center just outside of Chicago. She credits the inmates at Stateville for recognizing a problem and working to get it fixed.
We had done a really sort of very informal, casual survey, people talking to each other in the chow lines or on the yard or their cellies about, hey, did you know that you had got your voter eligibility restored in Illinois? As soon as you walked out of the institution, most people said no. And so we were like, there's our answer. Maybe we should create a bill that mandates voter ed as part of the exit process.
With the help of Dr. Rivers and Ami Gandhi, inmates at Stateville Correctional Center crafted House Bill 2541. It passed the Illinois House and Senate with overwhelming support before making it to Governor Pritzker's desk. The law is set to take effect January 1st, 2020.
The real work does begin now in terms of making this law a reality. Implementation is the really important thing at this point in time. We will be impressing upon the corrections departments that this workshop really needs to be available and accessible for everyone.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the Mississippi River, the ACLU of Iowa is still working to clear the first hurdle, ending the lifetime voting ban for returning citizens.
Together, I believe there's even more we can do, and we can start with felon voting.
Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds did introduce an amendment to the state constitution back in January that would automatically grant former felons the right to vote. But it stalled in the Iowa Senate. Despite the setback, the ACLU of Iowa plans to push for this amendment again in the next legislative session.
Iowa has been a leader on a whole range of civil liberties issues, right? Iowa was one of the first states to legalize marriage for same-sex couples. Iowa desegregated schools before the Brown versus Board of Education case. On this particular issue, Iowa's not even in the middle of the pack or kind of at the end of the line. Iowa is literally all the way at the back of the line, right? And we don't have to be there.
That leaves Eric Harris and nearly 60,000 other returning citizens in Iowa with just one option: file a request with Governor Reynolds to have their voting rights restored and hope for the best.
It makes you feel like less of a citizen, because your input doesn't go into anything. It's just that you're here, you pay taxes, and that's it. You don't get to say who's going to be the next governor, who's going to be the next senator, who's going to be the next president. It's just like you're a person that's from this country, but you're just standing around.
With the help of the ACLU, Harris plans to apply to have his voting rights restored. He's hoping to get a response in time to cast a ballot for the 2020 election.